Yes.
Okay. View full screen. And Randy Axelrod, take it away. Randy Axelrod, are you here? All right, we will get back to Randy. Lisa Brown, we have something special from Lisa Brown. I'm going to take this down because Lisa has done a recording. She wrote a song. She compiled a text and wrote a song,
Wow.
which she will tell us about when we are, let's see, share sound. So I'm going to share the sound and play it. This is Lisa singing, accompanying herself, and I will have the text up too if I can figure out how to walk and chew gum at the same time.
I just saw it a second ago. Wait. No, Carol, don't play it without the
Okay,
text.
hold on. Let me see.
Yeah.
Let me see what I can do here.
Yeah.
Um,
I just saw it.
yes, I get. I know, Lisa. I know. I know. I'm trying my best here. Let's see if I can share screen with the text, and let's see if I can also play the song. View, exit full screen. Okay, here is Lisa Brown's text, and this should be Lisa Brown's music.
El Elyon, who may sojourn in your tent, who may dwell on your holy mountain. She who walks blamelessly, he who does what's right, one who speaks truth from the heart. Those who stand by their word, even when it hurts them, they will never falter before you. They say God is dead, and they do as they please. Blood on their hands, meat in their teeth. Laughing victorious as we mourn, we cry, they chew, devouring us, oblivious to our pain and to the presence of the Holy One. Hashem mitagor behaolech mitzizkon behar kodshech הולכת תמים ופועלת צדק ודיברת אמת בלבבה. נשבעת לאה ולא תמיר, עושה אלה לא תימות לעולם. We are heard, they are seen, she remembers everything. We'll get out of this alive, as our Creator is alive.
Wow, that was spectacular. So gorgeous. The music is just so, it gets to that level of healing and of comfort and of being comforted. And just love the contrast with 14 and Psalms 14 and 15, which exist in the book itself. But by integrating those verses, you really bring that out. Really beautiful. Harold, do we have time for folks to speak a little bit about their psalm?
Yeah, one back and forth is fine. Yes.
Okay, great. So speak to us a little bit, Lisa, about doing this.
Well, the tune and the English adaptation I wrote years ago when I was at JTS and we did a joint service with Union. So their Psalm of the Day was Psalm 15. So I wrote this for them, and we sang it then. And then just very recently, I wanted to develop the song a little more, and I was so inspired by the Bernstein book and by, which I love. I love that little book. And by the commentary on how these songs are associated. And to me, it's very, like these two sides of the coin of this complete evil and complete goodness.
Yeah.
And like nothing in the middle, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. Lisa, can I put that on the Facebook page so people can go back and read it and listen to it on their own?
Actually, I would prefer that. I'm still futzing with the song.
Right. You'll get back to me and we'll find a way to share it with everybody.
Wow.
Okay?
Correct. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. Randy Axelrod, I understand, is back. Randy.
Yes, sorry, Harold, I'm on a new device.
It's okay.
Okay. Adonai, I long to sojourn in your tent atop the mountain, to touch, to see, commune with others. I tire of my solitude, Adonai, of the doubts and terrors that swirl untethered about me because there is no other to rein them in. But, dear Father, am I welcome? For I am not blameless. My heart, though tender, is stained by envy, not cool and sea green, but red yellow and searing. And my tongue, sweet and honeyed when singing your praises, pronounces harsh judgment on those who wrong me. And yet my longing to be in your presence abides. Is it true that your tent is open on all sides? Adonai, I stumble in.
Beautiful. I love the way you transformed the beginning from who will sojourn, who will, to I long to. You made it so deeply personal. I love that. I long to. I tire of my solitude, and such a connection to the moment we're in. So beautiful. So tell us a little bit about writing it. Love this, Andy.
Thank you. Well, I actually wrote it a few weeks ago before we studied it. I was in a bad place and full of self-criticism, and I started reading, and I read Psalm 15, and it just spoke to me. And I started writing for several hours just about how I do long to be in a better place, but it's difficult.
It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
but I
even
think
just
the end is hopeful,
yes.
Because I'm stumbling, but I'm stumbling in, not, meandering about.
It's a very beautiful and very encouraging image to all of us who are longing and stumbling along in life. It's a very encouraging and beautiful image. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Simon, what do you have for us?
Source. How can I comprehend you? How can I understand that which is infinite and beyond knowing? Look for me in your pure deeds, in your treatment of your neighbor, in your honest dealings. Look for me in your pursuit of truth and having the courage to call out evil and in standing with those who would oppose it. But utter the unkind word, take unfair advantage of others, and I will be hidden from your sight. Betray your oath, and you will not find me. These are the ways to my holy mountain. There you will find strength beyond anything you could possibly imagine.
Beautiful. So you've really switched the voice here in a very, very powerful way. I love this. Talk to us, Simon.
Well, I really changed the question from who may dwell in your tent to what does it mean to dwell in your tent?
I love that.
I do follow the structure of 5 verses. You start with a question, you end with a conclusion, you have good things, you have bad things. The question starts with beyond knowing, something that's beyond knowing, but ends with you can not know something, but you can experience it. And that's really where it ends up. A couple of things, like the the taking unfair advantage. I mean, that's the usury part. And a few of the other instructions from the psalm are taken and sort of used approximately. I think that's pretty much it.
But I think it's very clever. It's it's very clever that you switch this to being God's voice speaking to us, the universe's voice speaking to us, which of course the psalm is on some level, but this makes it very direct. So we're asking the question and we get this response from the universe. Look for me in your pure deeds, in your treatment. I love it. I love it. These are the ways into my holy mountain.
And this is your first written offering, correct, Simon? You had your musical offering.
I had a musical offering, and this is the first written offering.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yay, Simon. Wonderful. We're so proud of you, Simon. Simon, did you see you playing flute Friday night?
Yes.
Yes, I did. Yeah, that was
That
fun.
was wonderful.
So if you could pass the mic to Sherry.
There you go.
Here I am. So this is called Shaken Prayer. Our tents flaps shake in hurricane winds, but nothing shakes faith in tomorrow's sun. Fists shake furious, tongues wag, relentless lies hurled. Still, nothing shakes faith in a constant heart. The earth quakes, swallows tree, fox, home. Though trembling in the aftermath, we rebuild. Gold coins clink in rich pockets. Resolve unshaken, the least of us reaches out a hand with alms, lifts another. We climb to where the one tree dwells, shake its branches, collect the fruit it drops, share it.
Love this, Sharon. I love this image. The earth quakes, swallows tree, fox home, though trembling in the aftermath, we rebuild. Wow. All right, talk to us, Sherry.
Well, I start with the ending. I was shaken by the ending. Being shaken and not being shaken. What does it mean to be unshaken? And I start not with the individual, but the plural, with the best of all of us, with the aspiration of humanity, which individuals sort of try to reach. So I explore what can and cannot be shaken, what shake us, how do we respond unshakenly to being shaken in life, which we all are. And in each stanza, life shakes us in a different way, which sort of echoes the psalm in the 5 verses. And there's more contrast than proscription, I think, here.
Yeah.
But then in the last stanza, in the end, even the shaking itself is a positive, productive, and nourishing if we can climb there.
That's a beautiful and also a very encouraging image. That's what I love about what you're all writing, is that there's encouragement in the shakiness, encouragement in the stumbling, encouragement in the sense of we're not perfect and we are just trying to do our best. Beautiful.
We now recognize Scott Soloway from the back of the room. Scott?
And folks, I just want to remind Sherry, how do you spell your name? Is it with an I or a Y?
It's with an I, Sherry, Sherri. But I haven't cared since I finished being an actor many years ago.
Okay, just want to make sure we have your name spelled correctly everywhere.
Scott Soloway.
Yes. 613 to 11. Shekhinah, who finds refuge under the wings of your tent? Who dwells on the crags of your holy mountain? One who moves with integrity, who is righteous indeed, who speaks truth, think. One who spies not in step or tongue to do one's fellow wrong, who heaps not one's own disgrace onto a neighbor. One who can be despised in one's own eyes, who honors those who fear the weak lettered name, whose commitments do not waver regardless. One whose resources are not given for gain, nor not taken for another's pain. From the wings of your tent, from the crags of your holy mountain, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, I shall not be moved.
I love the intertextual references that's going on, folks. I find that very moving that people are referring to other Psalms we've done. So, Scott, speak to us. Beautiful.
I'd seen that there was some rabbinic teachings that this was David's condensation of the 613 commandments to 11. And then I sort of interpreted the words as they struck me and sort of thought of them as guideposts in directing my behavior in ways that I thought could apply to me. And from the moment I read it the first time, especially the translation, I couldn't get the "I shall not be moved" song out of my mind. And then I thought it was very apropos given Martin Luther King Day, and how our tradition speaks to it, and how sort of being able to live your life or aspire to a life of holiness can help us persevere and help us feel like we shall not be moved.
Yep. And it was from Psalm 1. Beautiful. I love the also since this psalm does have the negative and the positive, you've captured that here. So there are things that we shouldn't do as well as things that we should do. And you've got that in this psalm, which I think is a very powerful understanding of what holiness is. We have to restrain ourselves from doing some things that might actually feel pretty natural, like some of these things, gossiping in certain kinds of negative ways. But we also have to do positive things. But one who spies not in step or tongue to do one's fellow wrong, who heaps not one's own disgrace onto a neighbor. But then you also have one who moves with integrity, who is righteous, who speaks truth. So I very much like that energy of the psalm, that we have to think of what are the things we shouldn't do and what are the things that we should be doing, both at the same time. Beautiful. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
All right, back up. Okay, let's see. We're going back to, hold on, sorry. Lisa, and then Simon, and then Noreen. Dean, tell us about this.
Well, it's Psalm 15. I wish you could close. We can do a close up, but anyway, the voice of the psalm is about decline, and that's, I also love Bernstein's last line, where what she does with Psalm 15. So, face steep inclines and climb, and then that's a mountain range, but it's also made of matches. So it's about the holy mountain, about the presence internally and externally, and how we experience God. And I've been thinking about, when I was doing this, I was thinking about John Otterbridge, who passed December 23rd, who was my ex-boss, who I thought was one of the most profound, holiest people I ever met. And I can't ever think of an unkind word he ever said about anybody.
Wow. And
tremendous artist. But anyway, and I was thinking about Mandela, and I was thinking about the years he spent in prison and how his behavior in that small cell transformed the guards.
Yes.
And I thought that was just, given the times we are with whites, supremacists, Mandela's life was really a witness. So this is how this came.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful. So, and we have the one match.
Right. Yeah, that's our speaker.
That's our speaker. I love this. I really just love your work, Dean.
Yes. All right, Dean, thank you. Barbara Grindell is next. Has to leave a little early.
Prescription, a contented life, for a contented life. If it is your desire to spend time in Adonai's tent, dwell on his holy mountain, then walk blamelessly, work for justice, speak truth from your heart, spread no gossip, act without cruelty, behave neighborly. The righteous despise contemptible people, keep promises, have no interest in lending money, reach toward Adonai with their kindness, compassion, and light. The upright are not easily shaken.
Barbara, I just love the structure here and your kind of coming down with basically kind of if-then statements, right? And
Exactly.
yeah,
Yes.
beautiful. I just love it, and just kind of boiling down to the essence. Like, I really love the structure of it. Beautiful. Talk to us, Barbara.
Yeah, well, again, Bernstein, I get so much from her because she
Great.
does that, not exactly
Yeah.
the same way. When I first wrote that, I had 3 positive thens, and where I have spread no gossip, I had a do not, and I just didn't like the way it looked.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'll give a positive way of saying that. So that's why I changed to spread no gossip
Interesting.
and behave neighborly instead of saying do not behave unneighborly.
Uh-huh.
I just thought it worked better, but I love where I wrote have no interest in lending money.
Uh-huh.
It's not that they don't have an interest in it, they're just not going to charge interest. I tried to get that double
Uh-huh.
entendre there.
Interesting. Interesting.
And then something that Bernstein always does is have 3 sentences that continue. So reach toward our deny with their kindness, compassion, and light. It's really 1 sentence. And I could have put it underneath each other, but I like the structure of that 6, 6, and 6, and then the
Uh-huh.
beginning and the end.
Very nice.
So thank you. And thanks for everything I've gotten from this class. I
Well,
never could have done
beautiful.
it. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for being part of it. This
Wow.
is this really brings out, I love this way of looking at the psalm, kind of what, very, very clear structure to it. Thank you.
Stephen Deem.
Hi there.
Hi,
Can you
Steve.
please take that down or don't look at it, everybody, because it's changed so many times.
Okay.
In praise of Psalm 15 and Dr. King. In Psalm 15, Yeh Vav He, just is, justice. Psalm 15 is the perfect interfaith meditation. Jewish, all brands, Christian, all varieties, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, pagan, secular, non-theist. The Holy One doesn't have to save or condemn anyone in Psalm 15. Shahi is not called upon to perform a single miracle. Psalm 15 is about how a people make a righteous community, how a community is committed to building a safe and loving home together. This is what I inherited from my ancestors, a sense of righteousness as a goal. They carried this message to me all the way back from the beginning of civilization. The code of righteousness as expressed in Psalm 15. It's simple, it's pure. This is the way to the holy mountain. Psalm 15 resonates in a profound way. I am so proud of this inheritance. In praise of Psalm 15, Dr. King and the beloved community.
Wow. Talk to us.
Well, I couldn't write it. Psalm
Uh-huh.
15 is perfect. Everybody's translation I loved. And so maybe someday I'll write it and I can say that I invented it.
Uh-huh.
But to me, this is everything that it ever meant to being Jewish, growing up in a working class, non-synagogue going to community in the Bronx. This is what was fed to me by my Yiddish ancestors.
Uh-huh.
Be a good person.
Be a mensch. Yep.
And I read that every time I read everybody's, it all comes
Uh-huh.
back to me and it reverberates. And I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Beautiful. Loved it. Loved it, Stephen. And we're going to these Psalms, which think about these Psalms as part of our ancestry. We've inherited these Psalms into our very beings. These are our ancestors as much as anybody who is connected to us otherwise. So that's a beautiful image that these Psalms and your grandparents are speaking to you. Beautiful. Thank you.
Stephen, could you
Thank
please
you.
send Annika the revised version so we can switch it out?
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Judy Frank.
Yes, okay. Adonai, how can a woman dwell in your holiest resting places? How can a woman who raises 12 children live without blame? How can a woman loan money to anyone because her husband controls her money? Is she righteous nonetheless? She gives clothes and food to her neighbors by leaving them at their doorstep, never seeking acknowledgement for her actions. She never gossips, or at least tries not to, which is harder than ever when others come to her to talk about people she knows, or if she sees something on the internet about an old friend. She keeps her word always, even if she will suffer as a result. How long can you be righteous? Can you do teshuvah the last year of your life and dwell on your mountain? The last 10 or 20 or one day of complete teshuvah? How can I know if I am always doing the right things for you, Adonai?
Beautiful. I love the anger, and I love the taking on some of those issues in such a beautiful way. You know, Grace Paley had a thing that gossip for women is a form of communication. That she had a whole theory that gossip was negative, was considered negative because it was women's way of communicating, and that she had a thing that gossip is a feminist thing. So very interesting. So tell us about writing this, Judy.
Well, I guess I was a little angry about the he, always the he, and never talking about women
Yeah.
in the Psalms. So I responded that way. And I also wonder about women like the Haredi who have so many children. Like I saw, we're at a gas station coming home, and we saw this woman with 11 girls, and she was pregnant with a 12th. You know, it looked like it was just horrible. And so. And I know how hard it is for me. My biggest thing is talking about other people sometimes. And I read something a couple of years ago, horrible, on the internet, and I swore that I would never say a word of it to anybody. And thank God I haven't, you know, because it wasn't too good. So, but it was, you know, very juicy. But anyway, so that's what I'm doing. I don't know. After I wrote it, I was having second thoughts about it. Like maybe, I don't know. So, but I put it out there, so it's out.
Beautiful. It is deep in Jewish tradition to express anger and be to take on God and to take on a text. So you're in good Jewish tradition, and we love having it. You know, and I like to think that gossip is not just what we that there's lashon hara. There's really negative. There's evil talk and there's gossip. I like to imagine there being a difference as well. So anyway, I love this, Judy. Anger and taking on. It's a good way to move through and to find what's on the other side, but it's also okay to stay there. God can handle it. God's bigger than any of these things that we have in our limited ways assigned to that Holy One.
Thank you so much, Judy.
Honesty, authenticity. This is what it's about.
Joan Friedman.
Okay. Neged Psalm 15. After the ecstasy, the laundry. The book title by Jack Cornfield.
Yep.
Up on God's mountain, even a human being does only good. The trouble is back down in the valley. Lift us up, God. Lift us up to you. Better yet, let us know that you are here with us, here with me, especially when I am shaken.
Wow.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Wow.
And I think in the brevity, you really get to a core piece of this. Speak to us, Joan.
Wow.
Well, I was reacting, and this just says neged, but it's supposed to be neged Psalm 15. I was reacting against really the literal meaning of Psalm 15, where it says you can't be near God unless you're like perfect in a way that human beings can't be, or at least I know I could never be, and I haven't seen too many, you know. So I was kind of reacting against that, and then so I was thinking about both this idea of God's mountain and Psalm 27 and that kind of thing, and but also, you know, about being close to God and to me, what it takes to be close to God. You know, which is more about, you know, kind of wanting it and being open to it. And it's something that I've experienced much more often, you know, when I'm in deep trouble.
Beautiful. That's very, very powerful.
Joan, while I have you, is it supposed to be neged Psalm 15 like this, or no punctuation?
No punctuation.
Neged Psalm 15. Okay.
Yeah, just neged, kind of up against and opposition to.
Yep. Get it. Beautiful. Love it.
All right. Donna Gray.
Okay. A Psalm of Donna. Dear divine energy in the universe, who can find refuge in your tent? Who can manage to set up permanent residence on your holy mountaintop? Those who live without blame and always do what is right. If that's the truth, is there anyone who has earned the right to be there? Anyone? Right thought, right action, goodwill can bestow access to a sojourn in your tent of comfort, but a lifetime claim of higher ground? Hardly. Who among us has never spoken with an evil tongue? Whose character is so exemplary that everything ever done to another is beyond reproach? Blessed are those who, in their heart of hearts, acknowledge and align with the truth. But what about those who act badly in defense of what they believe to be true? No matter how contemptible and abhorrent I may find what they do, when I condemn them, do I not also condemn myself? I know what it is to feel excluded and unseen. I know what it is to feel hatred and anger toward the perpetrators of injustice. I haven't always done what is right. Those who stand by their oath, even to their own detriment, deserve honor and praise. Those who sell their soul in Faustian bargains for the perks of power merit their fall from grace, their free fall from grace. And there but for the grace of God go I. Dear divine energy in the universe, please heal us now. Help us to accept that all of it is in all of us, so we can call a moratorium on our dance of duality. Maybe there is someone somewhere who is such an epitome of righteousness that they shall never be shaken. As for me, I am shaken to my core.
Wow, Donna, so powerful. So powerful. And I love that you reject that as a binary and you accept the humanity of imperfection, which is all of us. So speak to us.
You know, when I read this psalm, rather than being inspired by it, I rolled my eyes and I went, oh, come on, give me a break. You know, this is, pie in the sky fantasy. And for quite a while, I didn't know how I was going to write anything because I just couldn't buy into that, just do this all the time forever, never make a mistake and you'll, have a ticket to the mountaintop. Gesundheit.
Thank you.
But then, my way in was, when I started challenging the psalm and, like Judy Frank, I had second thoughts after I wrote it and submitted it because I thought, oh my God, we're trying to lift each other up here. This is a real downer. But, I have been just shaken to my core about what we're going through.
Yep.
It is so, so upsetting. And, I want to, tune into the higher ground, and I'm trying. I'm signed up for this, that, and the other thing to raise my consciousness, believe me.
Yeah.
But
you're
it's not
shaking
always
your core.
easy.
Listen, I'll say this 1,000 times. If it's authentic, it's going to comfort other people because people see themselves reflected in your words. Do you know what I mean? That even if it's false comfort, false uplift, everybody sees through. But you know what? We're all inspired by seeing other people struggle in the same ways we're struggling. That's inspiring. So we have to be honest with each other, and I think in that honesty we will find comfort. We're not going to be comforted by people, with platitudes and bromides that are nauseating.
When I see the Capitol with all those National Guards people, and we don't know that all of them are trustworthy, it's just heartbreaking. Is all
It is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking, but we don't have to pretend it's not heartbreaking.
Wow.
So I didn't.
Yep, you didn't. Thank you, Donna. Beautiful.
Now we have Sherry reading for Goldalee.
Following right upon, capital punishment attempts to threaten US, New Year, us, you, for Martin. Amidst man-made fire, fog, and cloud, not in the king's, but in the people's house, was our nation's temple home violated, cult, not covenant, sullied, no longer sacred, within and without, justice and holiness gagged and held hostage. Tongues twisted, lie tied, brows bloodied, bent, heads topped, hopes terror struck. Votes uncounted, oaths betrayed, trust breached, norms and doors busted wide, big lie revealed, shut it down, stop their steal. God is here, holy of holies, righteousness nearly silenced, dragged out and beaten within an inch of your hallowed, howling and hushed, horrified sounds. Hineni, the mishkan of your heart is broken, split open. Heal ours, please. Help. Shall we take off our shoes at the altar of democracy as we bend at the knee to sob and sob till trauma's tears wash fear's fated hate clean, clear the halls, inner rooms of our soiled secular holy of holies. Freedom's impermanence is yet etched in marble. Truth's mumbled speech starts to seep out, stilled but not shattered. Democracy stumbles. So we, as your bridegrooms, who vowed to praise you, to uphold and cradle her, will keep our word, for it is ever tablet carved in your clouds to do justice, love mercy, walk humbly. We will lift up our voices to sing your psalms, kiss your fragile, stampeded upon earth, then strap on our prayer boots and to stand our ground. Your 30th Street home, Middle Church's stone, our democracy's dome are all but buildings. We are your shul's transformative cornerstones. May we be, may it be, maybe. Who may support, prop up your eternal pop-up sukkah of peace? May we. Who may request a visit inside your tents of loud, silent presence? May we. Who may approach, enter into your tabernacle's festive solemnity? May we. Who is willing to be trustworthy? Who is willing to patiently wait on, deeply listen to, and faithfully heed your love's law within our messy, imperfect, hug-hungry home of humanity? Who is willing to take a thoughtful breath, stand before you, pause, before mind, mouth, or hands move in service to you and your here truths? May we be willing while we can still stand here with you. May we be willing with your help to try to be a sanctuary. Please, may we be. May it be. Hineni.
Wow, Goldalee. I think this might be am I right that this is the first psalm that actually refers to the events of January 6th? And so really in a concrete way, wow. There's so much in this. This is really, really powerful. Goldalee, would you speak to us?
Thank you so much, Rabbi, and thank you as always, Sherry.
Yes, thank you, Sherry, for reading.
I'll just try to be really brief. When I first saw the very limited images I saw, I just thought of like a temple, destruction of the temple, and a different kind of temple for us, and share people's dismay and horror and shock. And then I think I read the psalm once before this occurred. And then when we started it, I believe as Salutra on that morning, I just was had the same thought, and the word carved in the clouds came to me. and even though it's not quite, using, then later I put in the words from Micah and began with Moses. And I don't know, I will just say I'm very comforted by this community, Rabbi, and your words throughout the years, these last 4 years especially, because of the history, I was able to sort of ground myself in the community and God and history, and still it's surreal. So I just spoke from that place and tried to just speak to those feelings. And it was very comforted by Psalm 15 occurring when it did, because of the hope and the goodness.
Somebody wrote, and I agree, just the image of hug-hungry humanity. That's kind of a summary of where we are. Hug-hungry, what an image. So very, very powerful, and so glad you're in the class.
Thank you so much.
Now we have Peter Klein. Peter.
Okay.
Calling in from where?
No, I'm actually here in New York. I had a very early Zoom call, and I'm stoked on espresso at this point. Anyway, this is probably the third version. I tried doing the reading the Psalms 1 through 15 daily, and it was emotionally overwhelming. I almost couldn't make it through. Anyway, this is in two parts. One, I'm reading a version that's slightly different from what you're seeing. 1 decade and counting. Alone, sleeping in a tent with no end to the wandering. Stop, start, rest, they say. We follow some lords led by a column of smoke by day, a fire by night. We set up camp at the command of priests and princes, unrolling the great tent first, so that the column has a nice room in which to stay, while I sleep on the rug I share with lice and dogs. When they call a meeting, there's barely room for us, people like me, stuck behind the best families. We can barely hear the leader's newest commands or understand all the singing, something about a God we must obey. And then the rules, thousands of them, do this, don't do that. And all the time it's them against us. They raided us and stole our flocks. The enemies are rich and sinful, and we are the chosen, but only if we obey and say certain prayers, sacrifice a certain way to this unseen God. Too many rules. So what about us, the schleppers who haul the caravans, trying to keep pace with that crazy man who mumbles or his elegant brother? We survive on tough bread and the flavorless crap we scavenge every morning. The priests tell us how to be holier than thou, but I probably break half those rules before midday. What does it take to be holy? We're muddling through no different from the pack animals seeking sweet grass and fresh water. Why can't it be simpler just to be good? I heard one of the songs yesterday about how awful we are and how wonderful it would be if we were better. How much better? And then they break into a noisy fanfare of praise to some almighty one who liveth on high. Those singers never shut up. Down here and back, it's different. It's tougher and all but impossible to live up to those words. Why isn't there a prayer for those of us stuck in the middle? I'm a regular guy. A second bowl of lentils, another hour of sleep, enough energy to have sex once in a while with someone I like, but more often not. I try to be fair and not worry of my folks about the daily shit that's part of this endless wandering. My one relief is when we roll up the great tent and I shoulder one of the drapes, for in that moment, I smell the musty brew of tar, sweat, burnt meat, and smoke. For within the rustling fabric, I hear the captured voices singing, Ayah, Ayah, Ayah. But as I carry away the bundles, I hear the God inhale the praise and sacrifice clinging to the cloth, but exhales only, no one hears me. Part 2, 30 years out. We trudge on, and every few weeks, months, We'll camp by a wadi after a sudden rain. I'll wash my face in a pool clear as the moon and see what I've become and weep. I will never see a promised land. I will never teach a child to fasten a tent against the howling storms that destroyed my hopes. In a stupid way, I pray to hurt fewer people, to have enough food and water that we don't perish, and that this unseen God is merciful, so that death will come quietly by night when the camp is still and I can leave everything behind. I have no voice for song, but hope that this is prayer enough, even if no one hears it. Selah.
Oh, Peter, gorgeous and devastating and so powerful. Speak to us.
I'm a mess. The first poem I wrote was impossible to finish because it was about my own moral failures, however unknown. So this one dealing with tents and that wandering, and we're always wandering, and 1 through 15 are so extreme from one end to another, and you wonder who you are. You're stuck in the middle, trying to piece your way through this world, and that's where this poem comes from. And it's hard. It's very hard.
It's hard. You've expressed it in a way I think many of us can see ourselves in, and that's what the power of this is. So I'm very moved by it.
But thank you for giving us the exercise.
Yeah, very moved by it.
Very powerful.
Very, very powerful.
So Rabbi, we've read through more than half of our text, not through half of the authors. So I'm going to suggest that with Peter's powerful powerful poem, we pause. Did you want to?
I'm eager if people will, maybe tomorrow we'll talk, or I'll let people know if people were able to do. Peter reminded me about asking folks to see if you could read through 1 through 15 to see what that would feel like. I do want to say that Shari and Debbie, our Tel Aviv classmates who are joining us from Tel Aviv, have let us know that at 11 a.m. this morning, there is an attempt to have Jews all over the world read Psalm 121 in honor of those who are suffering from COVID and to ask for God's help in ending the virus. So at 11 o'clock, Psalm 121, which we know very famously because we sing the opening verse a lot, Esa Einai, I lift up my, and this comes to that issue about hills and valleys. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. In other words, I'm in the valley. Where will my help come from? So if everybody at 11 a.m. could join with Jews around the world in reciting Psalm 121 to try and end this COVID crisis and in honor of all those who are suffering, to end that. So Shari and Debbie, we're happy to join this international effort, Jewish and non-Jewish. Read it in whatever language. Psalm 121 is a powerful psalm for healing and a psalm to be said in moments of crisis, facing illness, facing danger, all those kinds of things.
Thank you.
Yes, Harold?
Thanks everyone for working so efficiently today. Annika and I so much appreciate your help. I will send out the chat as soon as it's ready, so everybody who read today can see what the wonderful comments from their classmates. And as soon as we're done tomorrow, I will send out the complete text to everybody.
Right, and I thank everybody for giving us feedback. I think we've come up with a way to be able to include everybody's, but to try and condense the amount of time so we could keep moving through the Psalms. And our plan it's 11 a.m. New York time, yes. So it's 6 p.m. Israel time, 11 a.m. New York time, and I don't know what that means for Bulgaria. So basically it's in 10 minutes from now is the point, right? Did I do that?
Yes, that is correct.
10 minutes from now.
Wherever you are.
Should do it, wherever you are 10 minutes from now. And right now the plan is on Thursday that Marcia Melnick and I are going to teach about our CBST Siddur and Psalms in the Siddur and the creation of the Siddur. So if you have your own copy of the CBST Siddur, to bring it to to make sure you bring it from the other room or the shelf, to make sure you bring it to class on Thursday.
And tomorrow, what time is our watch party, Rabbi?
Watch party is going to be at noon when the inauguration begins, and it's going to be on the CBST Facebook page. So if you want to chat with people while it's going on. You could have the on your TV or on the computer, just so we could all be together during the. Maybe we'll start at like 15 minutes before. Excuse me, before, and we'll send out information about that today. But 15 minutes before the inauguration, on the CBST Facebook page, I'll be there, and a lot of CBST folks, if you want to, you know, and you could, as I said, you could watch it on one place and just be chatting on the other. Will this Facebook page be open for non-Facebook people? I believe you could get to you could go to a Facebook page without being on Facebook yourself. Is that correct for those
Yes,
who know?
yes. All right.
Anything else in the housekeeping category or
Nope, Shep asked, yes, tomorrow we'll be finishing up Psalm 15 so that Thursday we can do the Siddur, and then next week we will launch Psalm 16. All right, everybody saying there's 15 Psalms and Psalm 121 in 9 minutes. Thank you so much, everybody. See you
The
tomorrow.
room will stay open for 5 minutes, folks. And please be strong and patient today and just say Psalms anytime your blood pressure starts to go up. All right, just go back to the Psalms. And if you don't know which to do, just start at 1 and go through 1 to 15.
Yep.
All
And
right,
Rabbi,
everybody.
when is your prayer? When can we hear your
Well,
prayer?
it was supposed to be 11 o'clock on Thursday, but now it's going to be 10 o'clock on Thursday, which conflicts with our class. And I'm waiting to find out if there's a recording we'll be able to release afterwards.
Thank you.
The press release came out this morning, so that'll come out. And as I said, Reverend William Barber is giving the sermon, and a lot of clergy are reading prayers or readings from scripture of all different kinds. Debbie Almontazer is reading something. Rabbi Sharon Brous and I think, are the two rabbis. And there's clergy of all different kinds. Jackie Lewis from New York as well, many of you know. So it's but I'll see if it was supposed to be 11 o'clock, but it's gonna be 10. But I assume they'll be recording.
All right.
We'll talk.
Rabbi, did you say something about the memorial link? The link for the memorial?
At 5:30 today, there's gonna be a memorial service. I put it up on my Facebook page, but I'm sure it'll be on all the TV cables.
It's on television.
Right,
Yeah,
I figured
it's on
as much.
television.
Okay,
But
all right.
5:30 today, and I urge everybody to join in. The first
Oh,
time
no
this country is
question.
gonna do some kind of national memorial service for all those who.
Today.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. The room will stay open till 11:55, everybody. Bye-bye.